Hello everyone. Today, I will introduce our work on electric toothbrushing monitoring with magnetic inductive sensing. Toothbrushing is the crucial habit for a user to maintain dental health. Nowadays, electric toothbrushes are gaining popularity and they are being used by over 120 million Americans. There are many designs of electric toothbrushes. Many of them convert the high-speed rotary motions of the electric motors into the back and forth brushing movements of the brush heads that clean the teeth effectively. To use an electric toothbrush, the manufacturer recommends the following guideline. We need to gently place the toothbrush on the teeth and allow the brush head to do the brushing. Although the electric toothbrushes are easy to use, many users are still not getting the desired dental cleaning results. The first challenge is to ensure the full and even brushing coverage. It is widely recommended that each toothbrushing session should be 2 minutes, and the brushing time should be evenly distributed among different tooth surfaces. However, in practice, due to the uneven time distribution, some surfaces are receiving too much brushing, while others are not receiving enough. The second challenge is to ensure correct brushing techniques. Common incorrect brushing techniques, such as scrubbing motions, are ineffective in removing dental plaques and can create excessive abrasions. However, a study shows that 75% of the participants fail to brush in the correct techniques. There exists a few toothbrushing monitoring systems. There are camera-based systems which recognize toothbrushing surface by analyzing the video footage of a smartphone camera. However, since our cheeks obstruct the toothbrushes from time to time, such systems have limited monitoring accuracy and granularity. There are systems that differentiate brushing surfaces by analyzing the brushing sounds. However, such systems cannot differentiate several surfaces, such as the upper and the lower chewing surfaces, because they cannot track the toothbrush orientations. There are motion sensor-based systems. These systems use the inertial sensors inside the toothbrush to recognize the brushing surface. However, as demonstrated in our experiments, these systems suffer from large drifting errors because of the vibrations generated by the electric motor. As a result, they have low monitoring accuracy. To overcome these limitations, we began to explore alternative solutions. Here is our key observation. When we place a magnetic sensor near the electric motor of the toothbrush, it can detect a stable, time-varying magnetic field. The motor movements are reflected by the magnetic sensing results. Furthermore, the magnetic field is not influenced by the user's body. Motivated by this observation, we initiated efforts in developing the first system that uses magnetic sensing to track the motions of an electric motor. There are many challenges in achieving this goal. The first challenge is to sense the motor magnetic field, which has a weak signal strength. The second challenge is to achieve position tracking. Currently, there is little understanding on the motor magnetic field distribution in the 3D space. Past research mainly focused on modeling the internal magnetic field of the motor. We also need to address the challenge of recognizing the motor roll angle, which is crucial for brushing surface recognition. The motor roll angle has little influence on the magnetic field strength. Finally, we need to design a convenient toothbrushing monitoring system so that the users do not need to provide extensive training data. Here is an overview of our solution. To capture the electric motor magnetic field, we designed a sensor array with 8 inductive sensors. These sensors have high sensing fidelity and the sensor array has a low cost. To achieve position tracking, we construct an approximate model by analyzing the magnetic field strengths. This model enables centimeter-level position tracking for the motor. By analyzing the magnetic signal waveform, we design a machine learning algorithm that can track the roll angle of the motor. Based on the position and orientation tracking of the toothbrush, we design a clustering-based algorithm to recognize the toothbrushing surface of the user. This system does not require any training data from the user. Here are our contributions. We designed MET, a magnetic-inductive sensing-based electric toothbrushing monitoring system. We developed the first system that used the existing magnetic field as a signal to track an electric motor's position and orientation. Based on the tracking results, we designed fine-grained monitoring algorithms that monitors the brushing coverage of all the 15 tooth surfaces. In an experiment with 14 users, our system achieved a brushing surface recognition accuracy of 85.3%. Our system significantly outperformed existing commercial systems. Here is a demo of our system. Based on the sensing of the magnetic field, our system is able to track the position of the electric toothbrush. By analyzing the motor magnetic field, our system can also track the roll angle of the toothbrush. Based on the position and roll angle tracking results, our system will recognize the toothbrushing surface and techniques and provide the brushing quality report after the user finishes. I will firstly introduce the sensor design. We select the inductive sensor over other magnetic sensors due to its high sensing fidelity, robustness, and low cost. To build the sensors, we have considered several factors, including the sensor sensitivity and the sensor form factor. In our final design, each sensor coil has 4,000 rounds of wire and contains a ferrite core, which improves the signal strength. We organized 8 inductive coils into an array. Each sensor has its unique spatial position so that it can provide independent magnetic field measurements to improve tracking accuracy. We have leveraged several signal processing techniques, including the spectral subtraction and the bandpass filtering. Next, I will introduce how to achieve position tracking for an electric motor. There has been extensive research on applying magnetic sensing for a motor. For example, there are works on motor magnetic noise analysis and motor health diagnosis based on magnetic sensing. However, little work was dedicated to the analysis of the spatial distribution of the motor magnetic field for position tracking. To analyze motor magnetic field, an established approach is the finite element method. However, we cannot apply this approach since it requires detailed parameters of the motor, which are unavailable to us. Magnetic sensing has been used for position tracking before. In particular, there are cooperative magnetic position tracking systems that attach magnetic tags on the target to generate magnetic signals for position tracking. These systems can achieve high tracking accuracy. However, we cannot use this approach because the additional magnetic tag will interfere with the normal operation of an electric toothbrush. There are also non-cooperative tracking systems that achieve coarse-grained localization using the target's existing magnetic field. For example, it is possible to achieve indoor localization based on the modeling of the magnetic field signatures. However, these signature-based modeling techniques cannot achieve sufficient tracking accuracy for electric toothbrushing monitoring. In this work, our goal is to achieve fine-grained tracking without any additional magnetic tags. The unique approach we use is to construct an approximate analytical model for the motor magnetic field. To track the motor positions, our first step is to understand the motor magnetic field distribution. To do so, as illustrated in this figure, we conduct experiments that measures the motor magnetic field with sensors at different locations. Here are our observations. First, the magnetic signals are highly periodic. This is illustrated in the power spectrum of the magnetic signal, which has a large peak at a single frequency. Second, the motor magnetic field strength is not influenced by the motor roll angle. And finally, the magnetic signal phase is approximately equal to the motor roll angle. Based on these observations, we construct an approximate magnetic model. The intuition is that if we replace an electric motor with a rotating magnet, we can still get the same three observations. Based on this intuition, the magnetic moment of a motor is approximated using this equation, which describes the magnetic moment of a rotating magnet. Next, we analyze the influence of the motor orientation change, which includes the change of the yaw and pitch angles. In particular, the influence of the orientation change is computed using the rotation matrices. Then we can calculate the field at the sensor's location using the standard magnetic field distribution equation. In this equation, R represents the relative position between the sensor and the motor. MT represents the approximated magnetic moment of the motor. The final model, represented by the root mean square of the function f, is an analytical function that maps the position and orientation to the magnetic field signal strength. Based on this model, we can formulate an optimization algorithm to estimate the toothbrush position. In this equation, V represents the actual sensor measurement, and F represents the predicted magnetic field. Our algorithm searches the values of the motor position and orientation such that the model predictions are closest to the sensor measurements. This figure shows some sample tracking results. We can see that the estimated positions, which are represented by red crosses, are close to the ground truth positions. Next, I'm going to present how we achieve roll angle estimation. As we have seen in one of the previous experiments, the toothbrush roll angle change does not influence the magnetic field strength. Instead, we rely on time domain magnetic signal signature for roll angle tracking. Here is our experiment. We record magnetic signals when the toothbrush had different roll angles. Our sensors record different waveforms when the toothbrush has different roll angles. For example, on the left, these two figures are inverse to each other. On the right, the two figures have small jumps in the waveforms, and they are also inverse to each other. Based on this observation, we developed a machine learning-based algorithm to recognize the toothbrush roll angle. The overview is as follows. All the sensors are collecting the magnetic field signals concurrently. Then we compute the similarity between these measured signals and a set of template signals. The template signals are collected with known roll angle of the toothbrush beforehand. These similarity values contain rich information about the toothbrush roll angle, and we treat them as a feature set. We have tested several different classification algorithms, and we selected the deep neural network due to its good performance. The algorithm returns a coarse-grained prediction of the toothbrush roll angle, that is, up, right, down, and left. This is how we achieve toothbrush roll angle estimation. Based on the toothbrush position and orientation tracking results, we are now ready to design the toothbrushing surface recognition algorithm. The first step is to classify the toothbrush positions based on the roll angle estimation results. In this figure, we plot the toothbrush positions when the toothbrush roll angle is facing right. We can see that when brushing different surfaces, the toothbrush positions form distinguishable clusters. We conduct a normality test on the data, and the result shows that each cluster follows a Gaussian distribution. This motivates us to use the Gaussian mixture model algorithm to conduct clustering on the toothbrush positions. After we finish clustering, we can then label these clusters automatically based on their relative positions. In this example, we can find the labels for the left upper, left lower, right lower, and right upper surfaces. This is how we recognize the brushing surface when the user is standing still. In the case of movements during brushing, we use the hidden Markov model to track the user's movements. We have tested several generations of sensor designs. In the earlier versions, we tested the performance of the commercial off-the-shelf surge coil sensors. Later, we improved the sensor sensitivity by increasing the number of runs, and we tested a different sensor design which deployed inductive coils in orthogonal directions. In our experiments, we found that the tracking accuracy was higher when the coils had greater diversity in their spatial positions, so we later deployed the coils in a 2D plane. We implemented this design on a breadboard. After verifying the effectiveness, we finally soldered the inductive coils to achieve better robustness. Here is the circuit diagram of our system. We have selected the audio codec to digitize the magnetic signals. In doing so, we achieved a system that is low cost, has high digitization resolution, high sampling rate, and can digitize 8 channels simultaneously. Next, I will present the evaluation results. In the first experiment, we placed the toothbrush at 32 3D positions. The mean tracking error is 2.2 centimeters, and the 90% tracking error is 4.1 centimeters. To evaluate the toothbrushing monitoring accuracy, we recruited 14 volunteers, and each brushed for 10 times. We select the F1 score as a metric to evaluate recognition accuracy. Here is the brushing surface recognition accuracy for all the 14 users. The overall accuracy is 85.3%. The recognition accuracy ranges from 68% to 95%. The key factors that influence the accuracy include habit in placing the toothbrushes and the user movements. In the future, we will use personalized brushing recognition models to improve the performance. We measured the background magnetic noises at 4 different rooms and plot their spectral densities. When we compare the noise with the toothbrush motor magnetic signal, we can see that the signal is around 2 magnitudes stronger at the desired frequency of 1000 Hz. We have also tested the influence of common metal objects, such as the metal furnitures, plates, and dental implants. We have not observed significant effects on the monitoring accuracy. We also conducted an experiment on tracking 4 other electric toothbrushes that use different types of electric motors, including brushed motors and linear actuator units. We constructed a preliminary linear regression model that maps the magnetic signal strength to the distance. As illustrated in this figure, the tracking error is less than 5 centimeters when the distance is less than 60 centimeters. In the future, we will further extend our model to enable multidimensional tracking for different motor types. In conclusion, in this work, we introduced MET, an electric toothbrushing monitoring system that is based on magnetic sensing. Our system achieves fine-grained monitoring of toothbrushing coverage and brushing techniques. We developed a new method that tracks the position and orientation of an electric motor based on its magnetic field sensing and modeling. In experiments with 14 users, we achieved a toothbrushing monitoring accuracy of 85.3%. MET significantly outperformed leading commercial systems. Thank you very much for listening.